Hey you guys! So I am going to be painting cherry blossoms today. This is my painting a day number 3. So here we go. Okay, so I'm going to set you right up here. And hopefully you can see my palette and there we go, palette and paper. Okay, great. So we're going to be painting cherry blossoms. And I've got white, cadmium red, magenta, yellow, and kind of a weird a weird brown color I'm going to use for the stem. I have this one, it's a Liquitex bronze yellow. I bought it because I thought it was going to be like yellow ochre, but it ended up being much more brown and I don't really use it for anything. So we're going to just use it for the stem. You know what? I think I'm going to wait to do the stem. I'm going to do it a little different today. I'm going to do the stem at the end and just sort of weave it in amongst the flowers if I think it needs that. So we'll start with the flowers because they're white, and so they're white and light pink, and so I don't really want them mixing with the brown. So we're going to let the flowers be the focal point and add the brown in a little later. So I have a few reference photos up on my desktop I'm taking a look at. I'm going to make a really pale pink, just tint the white a tiny bit, and I'm going to use this big round brush. This is a size 12 round brush. And I'm going to go ahead and just start putting them in, and I want them to look really light and fluttery, so I'm just going to sort of sprinkle them all around and just kind of go with the flow and try to be as quick and expressive as possible. And they have 5 petals, so I'm just going to kind of not fully do all the petals all the time, but just sort of do it like this. And we're gonna be adding all of my little petals like that. And when I'm painting bunches of flowers, I generally will show some petals sort of peeking out from behind other ones because you don't see every single flower perfectly. You see them sort of in clumps where some are in front and some are, you know, sort of hiding behind. So I'm just going to make some the focal point and other ones just sort of tucked in. And I decided to go ahead and tone my paper again today. I really liked how the tone paper worked out yesterday. And so we're going to go ahead and just do that again. And I think it really makes the flowers pop, and it makes the piece feel, I don't know, more finished to me because then, I don't know, white paper is a little bit crisp and feeling like it's unfinished to me, at least with the way I like to paint. So we're just going to give it a try. And sorry if you hear other voices. My husband's in the other room doing work since he's home today. So he is, or maybe he's actually, yeah, he's doing something on the computer. So he is talking a little bit. Okay, let's see. So then in my little reference photo, I see some buds. So I'm going to make some little buds here on the end. And I like how that looks because they're just some little more like delicate looking things at the end there. And then I think I'm going to kind of have them sweep, the flowers sweep around here. So maybe we'll do a few more that are kind of facing that way. And if you're watching this on Instagram, I wanted to let everybody know that I'm going to be posting these videos because they're live videos on Instagram. Instagram doesn't let you save them on the Instagram platform and put them in your highlights, I don't believe. I've looked and I cannot see that option. So I'm going to be posting these on YouTube. So if you go and look at my YouTube channel, you'll be able to find all of my floral painting a day videos over there, and then they will just live over on YouTube forever. And if you're watching on YouTube, hi. Okay, I think I want to have them bunched in an area and then a little bit more open not have them completely, not have all areas of the page exactly the same. So I think I'm going to do one sort of out on its own here. And then maybe we'll add like another little bud there. Let's see. And maybe I'll have one kind of sort of like a focal point out in that area. Yeah, I like that. Okay, so then the stem will be kind of coming down here. I'm trying to imagine it. Yeah, maybe we'll add a few more buds here and there so that they're sprinkled in. Here we go. Okay, and then we're going to maybe have some buds down at the bottom here. And that'll be sort of like a little flower down at the base. Cool, I like how that looks. I almost feel like I want to add a few more flowers here to kind of visually weight the composition a bit more. So maybe I'll just do some like partial ones and some petals sort of peeking. Yeah, okay, I like that. There, okay, cool. So now that I have my base shapes in, I think I'm gonna go ahead and do just a little bit of pink, a little bit of a deeper pink on the petals towards the center. I think that would look pretty. And then I'll do the yellow centers. And again, I don't want to go overwork this too much. I'm just gonna add some little strokes of pink. I always feel like that's a little bit too dark of a pink for how light these flowers are. I'm gonna add a bit more white. Soften it up just a little bit. There, I like that better. And acrylics dry a shade or two darker than how they appear when they're wet. So that's, it's always good maybe to make your color a little bit lighter than you think, because then it'll probably end up closer to how you really want it to be if you go slightly lighter. Okay, so for the ones that are just partially showing, I'll just add a little dash here or there. And I'm not going to be try to be super accurate with my placement on all of these. It's almost sort of a, just like a highlight color, something to add a little bit more interest to these guys. So pretty. I'm excited to add the centers. So I have a couple photos of cherry blossoms pulled up. Some have yellow centers and some have more like reddish orange centers. And I think that's really beautiful. And there's even one where the leaves are more like reddish brown. And now I'm wondering, is that really a cherry blossom? But there might be different varieties. So I'm just gonna go with it. There we go. Be expressive. I'm not going for 100% accuracy, and that's sometimes hard when I'm painting a flower for the very first time. I tend to get more lost in all of the details and the minutia than I actually would like to, because I'm trying to figure out really like, how is this flower made? You know, what are the things that are important to express about the flower, and what are the the details and the minutia that could get left behind. I'm not as clear on that as when I'm painting it for the first time. Then once I've painted it several times, then I feel like I can improvise and leave out things more and just focus in on the elements that I really love and find, captivating and beautiful about the blooms and that kind of get like the spirit of the flower across. And so sometimes, like on these painting a day flowers, I feel like I've been getting a little bit bogged down in some details. So I'm going to try to leave these a little bit more airy and sprightly. That's a good word for these, sprightly. Cool, I like that. I feel like I want a little bit of a touch of pure white on some of the petals to add even a bit more of a highlight, and I might even do a touch of a darker color, a darker pink maybe in the center, so we'll see. Okay, let's see. White first. I have some white left over down on my palette down here. Okay, so I'm just gonna add just a little touch. We'll see if this actually shows up. My light pink is so light. You know, I think I'm just gonna add it to some of the petals where the pink was not quite as thick, and so the dark green background is kind of showing through. That'll help add a spot of brighter color and or of lighter color, and also help them be a bit more opaque. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Here we go. Yeah, and that adds like another layer of interest and texture to the petals too, having some thicker little smaller strokes. There. I'm gonna do this one too. Cool, I like that. Okay, so now I'm gonna go ahead and do some darker pink, I think. I'll rinse out my brush. And I think for the rest, I'm on borderline about whether I'm gonna switch to a small brush or stick with the big one. You know what, in the interest of keeping it loose, I think I'll stick with the big one, and then we'll do the smaller brush for the stems at the end and the leaves. Oh, and maybe the stamens. Okay, so I'm looking at my photo there. I think I'm going to just maybe add here and there a little bit darker, just a touch. Like here or there, just for a little depth. I like that. We're gonna add that right in the center of some of them. And not every single one, I think. I think when it's on every single flower exactly the same, it gets a little monotonous looking. So I'm just gonna add it to just a few of them. Like maybe some of them just like 3 little strokes of it, and then that other one's each like petal can get it. Cool. I feel like I need a touch of it right over here. Yeah, that feels, oh, and then we'll do a little bit on that guy. Okay, great. I like that. That kind of sprinkles that darker color around. And now that we have a darker color in the flowers, it helps them look a little bit more well-rounded up against that really dark background color. Because if the background is really dark, it's a very like a deep color, and then the flowers all hang out in really light and medium shades, sometimes they don't look like they're finished. They need like some sort of color in them that's as dark as this background. So I'm going to do, I think I'm going to go ahead and do my yellow stamens. This one's coming together pretty quick because they're so fast. They're just very fast and simple, and I like them a lot. So we're going to do, I don't really ever like using just plain straight up yellow, so I'm going to change it a little bit. I'm going to bring some yellow over here, And I'm going to add just a little bit of red to make it a bit more golden yellow. And then I think I'm going to add a little bit of white to soften it slightly. So we're going to, there we go. I think I want a little bit more red. Oops. We'll see how that turns out there. Yellow's pretty strong, so it can handle that. Okay. Then we're going to just sort of dash this in for little hints. I don't think I'm going to really try to draw lines. They have like little little stamens that are coming out that have they're like long little lines with little dots on the end. I think I'm just going to do dots to sort of hint at that, like little dashes and little dots. Yeah, I like that. And then I'll do, oops, a little too much in there. Whoop. Yeah, and there's, you get the idea that they are on little stamen stem things without actually painting the lines, the actual lines of them. Great, I like that a lot. Okay. Ooh, it just started raining again. It's been raining on and off all day today, and I can hear it through my window here. Cool, that's really pretty. It helps them look so nice and delicate. I like that. Okay, we'll just keep going here and we'll here we go. And then this one, let's see, this one at the top, since we're seeing it more from the side, we're gonna see the little yellow dots more up there. And I think these are more like buds, so they don't need them. I might do just a few little random dots here and there to hint at, you know, other flowers that are tucked behind that we may not actually be seeing the full flower, but we're seeing a little bit of their stamen. Maybe just like a few like right there. Some little expressive dots. Nice, I like that. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and just put in my stem and leaves, and then we'll see if the flowers look like they need anything else. But I'm really happy with them. I think they ended up really fun and light-hearted looking. Okay. I'm gonna take a sip of my tea. It's really cold in my studio. It's like the coldest room of the house, so if I leave the door closed to keep my girls from coming in and, you know, playing with all the art supplies, then it gets really frigid in here. Hello, hi guys. Thank you. While I'm taking a sip of my tea, I'm looking at the comments. Thank you. I'm happy with how these are turning out. I don't think I've ever painted cherry blossoms before. And so they're really fun, and you can do just like these little brushy strokes. I really like how that turns out. Let's see. This brown might look really nice on top of this green. I think it's going to be good, but I've got to thin it out because thick paint does not brush really well on paper, I found. My canvas that I use, because of it having the canvas texture, the canvas will help like grip the paint and help it come off your brush easier. But with paper, I feel like I'm usually having to add a little bit of water to my paints. if they're really thick, heavy body paints, to help them just flow off the end of my brush. Oh, what you're asking what type of tea I like? Oh, I'm drinking Earl Grey tea right now. I'm just drinking it black. I love, my very favorite tea is, I think it's actually discontinued, which is really sad. It's like this specialty little flavor from Trader Joe's, which is like a small sort of grocery store we have here in the United States. And they had this Trader Joe's vanilla. It was a black tea with vanilla and did it have cinnamon in it? I don't know. I love vanilla flavored teas. And it was so delicious. And then I think they stopped making it, which just makes me so sad. Okay. But I do love just plain old Earl Grey. It's very delicious. Here we go. I like how this is looking. Okay, so then we'll give this little guy a stem. We'll give this a stem. We'll just keep the stems pretty minimal, and then we'll have a little stem going off like for that clump. But I don't really want to focus too much on the stems or have them be distracting, so I think I'm going to just maybe leave it. Yeah, I think I'm gonna leave it there. And I'm looking at my photos to see where some leaves are, and I do see some little buds and leaves. I didn't put out any green. You know what? I think I'm gonna go with, like, make up my own leaf color, because why not? Yes. Okay. Oh, I'm glad you guys, you're liking tea. You're liking vanilla tea too. Good. I'm just gonna go crazy with the color of my leaves. I think I'm gonna make it a reddish magenta, because one of my photos has leaves that color. I honestly don't know if that's a real color for a cherry tree, but maybe the new growth is red, but I think this would look really cool and kind of dramatic. So we're gonna go ahead and just use this. Okay, and I'm not going to go too heavy-handed with the leaves. I'm just going to do some little bud like little new leaves here and there. And you know what, the flowers also have, like, if you're looking at the bottom of the flower, they have a little bit of a like a little leaf wrapper thing that's coming up at the bottom. Wow, guys, I don't have the right vocabulary for what that's called, but there we go. Here we go. We're gonna do trying to decide if there should be a leaf here or not. Maybe right there. Okay, now I'm just going to kind of hold it back. I'll hold it up to show you guys where I'm at right now. Then I just look at it and try to decide if there needs to be any other elements to kind of help it be well-rounded. You know what? I'm going to make a decision. I think I want to maybe make another bud or two going this way, because I like the idea of it continuing the curve just a little bit further, and I might have a leaf on the end. So I'm going to save that leaf color. I'm going to rinse out my brush and just curve it around a little bit further so that we get more of like a dynamic feel. Oops, actually that was a mistake. I started getting my stem color, but I think I'm gonna go ahead and do a few more buds. Oops, I'm running out of white, but I have a little bit left here. I think that'll be enough. Okay. Okay, let's see. So I don't know, that might be just what we need right there. Just a little bit more. I might make this one a bit more of an actual flower so it doesn't feel too, like a little bit of a bigger bud, so it doesn't feel so much the same as the one right in front of it. Look a little bit more interesting. Yeah, I like that. And then maybe we'll have a few leaves and a few stems. Okay, cool. I think that adds a little bit more fun, a fun dynamic feeling. So we're going to rinse out my brush and I'll add a little bit of that light pink to them. I'll just switch to my small brush for that. And then we'll go woohoo, like that. Okay. I'm trying to imagine. Sometimes I just like move my fingers over the paper and try to imagine like where the direction or the lines will go, or like what it would look like to have another element there. Whatever helps you sort of picture is good. Okay, so we're gonna go like that. I don't think I'm gonna do a stem for that little guy because I feel like it would just look a little strange. Maybe I'll do a bit of a stem there just to kind of, and maybe a little bit of one there. Yeah, because then it feels like it's branching at the end just a little bit. And we'll add a couple leaves. The leaves, as they're drying, this red is on top of the dark green, and they're drying very dark. And I don't know if I want them that dark, so I think I'm going to go back and add a little bit of white to that leaf color. And then, yeah, I like that. Okay, I feel like there needs to be one right there. To kind of curve. Yeah, okay, we're gonna leave that. There just needs to be a little bit of a highlight color, I think, on those red leaves, and that will almost tip them slightly towards pink too, which will be pretty. So we're gonna have this is a little bit more reddish of a color. Oh, thanks guys. Oh, you know what? I'm actually not left-handed. I'm right-handed, just the way that the video, I guess, is showing. Might flip it, or it's a little bit weird. So I apologize. When I'm painting, my hand is like between the camera and the paper sometimes, and that's because I have a shelf. The camera is sitting up on a shelf right there, and it's the only tall thing in my studio that I can get my camera up on its little stand. But I said yesterday, in my video yesterday, that I finally decided to order a tripod that is specifically for putting your phone in, and I found a review of another artist who paints, and you can use the tripod to position your camera so it's looking straight down at the paper, and I love that. I feel like that's so much more gives you such a more clear view of what's going on than this sort of funky setup. So thank you for bearing with this. Saturday onwards, or actually I'm not going to paint on Saturday or Sunday, but next week onwards, I should have a way better setup so that you guys can actually see a much clearer view of what's going on, which is going to be exciting. Okay, let's see. I'm going to give it a final look because I really like this highlight color. I think that changes things up and makes them a little pop out from that green a bit more. So I'm just going to see if there's any other areas which might need a leaf. I feel like I'm just going to do a little dash of it here in the middle to kind of make that feel a bit more dense. But I don't really want to distract from the flowers too much, so I'm going to let it rest. Yeah, I think we've got it. Okay. Thank you guys. Okay, awesome. Here we are. I'm going to turn it around so you can see. there is the finished, whoa, if I can get it straight. There we go. I'm gonna post a much better lit photo of it on my Instagram feed so you can see the final thing. The light in here is not the best, but I hope you can get an idea. Thank you so much, guys. You're so sweet. Thank you for joining me, and I will see you tomorrow, kind of same time, same place, for tomorrow's flower. I'll see you then. Bye-bye.